Hey brothers and sisters, as some of you may have noticed, I have changed over my intro. I was having problems from YouTube flagging things, saying that there was copyright issues. I provided them all of the necessary documentation to prove that everything was fine, but they're a big company that's run very poorly in a lot of ways, so until things get cleared up, we're just going to intro my videos with some cool artwork done by me. One Piece, Chapter 48, Steer Clear.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the tantalizing tale of One Piece. Our last chapter left us with Don Krieg, potentially getting blown to bits, but then coming back and showing us that he's fully armored and fully capable of taking out several men. The chapter ended with Chef Zeff coming out and tossing him a Santa Claus-like goodie bag full of food for his 100 men and basically saying, here's rations for your men, get the hell out of here, and using some intimidation on him. We find out that Zeff has actually been to the Grand Line, has sailed the Grand Line, and was known as Red Shoes Zeff. So that's kind of where we were left, and that's where we start off this chapter. So the intimidation kind of goes back and forth, and Don Krieg gets up in his face and says, "Oh, you're the legendary Red Shoes Zeff. It was said that you had that your kick was so powerful that you could smash bedrock and even dent steel, right? And that you got the odd name, the unusual name of Red Shoes, because of the blood of your victims, right?" And but then he basically makes fun of him and says, "Well, obviously you couldn't cut it on the Grand Line either. Now clearly you can't do. You got one leg and you're a cook, or a chef. But was it by choice or was it just because you couldn't hack being a pirate? You couldn't handle it." So Zeff basically tells him, "Yeah, it's true that I'm not a pirate anymore and I use my hands now and this and that, but it doesn't make me any less strong or any less dangerous. I did sail the Grand Line for a whole year." And everybody's like collectively holds their breath and like, oh, a year, oh my God, right? Krieg then goes and talks about how, how his armada of 50 ships only lasted 7 days in the Grand Line. And it seems like what he has left, those 100 men and that flagship of his armada that he's on, is all that's left. So whatever happened to them, he got royally fucked up, right? And Don Krieg's supposed to be the baddest man in the East Blue, so so the Grand Line's definitely not a friendly place. You know what I mean? It's probably like, I live in Chicago here, so it's probably like some of the areas like Cabrini Green after dark on a Friday night. You know what I'm saying? But so. Also worth noting too is that Don Krieg, says it was legendary. The legend has it that you sailed the Grand Line for a whole year, and you kept a logbook of all your travels and everything like that. And Zeff says, yes, I did. And Don Krieg says, well, you'll give me that book because that's the only thing that I lacked. I'll go and build another armada and get 5,000 more men, but and then I'll be able to be successful this time on the Grand Line because now I'll be armed with that knowledge, and that was what I lacked, So this is going back and forth for the first 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of the chapter, and we see some of the cooks obviously kind of going, hey, we're going to stick by the chef over here. He kind of took us in, and we're going to back him up. And Don Krieg's basically just trying to use his force, and I told you I'm the strongest and this and that. Finally, about halfway through, Luffy just basically says, listen, bullshit, okay? I'm going to be the king of the pirates, all right? And everybody's kind of laughing at him, chore boy, what are you talking about, right? This is no time for, and Don Krieg says, maybe you want to take that back, this is serious business. And Luffy goes, yeah, obviously. So Luffy's got that, just real headstrong attitude of, I don't give a fuck, and I'm going to take care of what I got to take care of, right? Because we know what his goals are, and he's tired of just sitting on the sidelines over there. You know what I mean? He was sitting listening to this whole conversation as it got more and more interesting, and he found out that there was something in it for him as far as some knowledge, possibly about the Grand Line, which is where he's going. Then certainly he wanted to just dive right in head first. So then, Zoro kind of says, oh, hey, we're ready to fight. I can lend a hand. And he's sitting there with his sword, one of his swords over his shoulder. And, and Luffy says, oh, good, you two are here. He looks at him and Usopp. And then he says, nah, I got this. Just headstrong and just, I don't give two shits who this Don Krieg is. I'm going to beat his ass anyway. So, and Don, of course, is going into his whole, I've been wiped out. I was wiped out in 7 days and this and that, you impudent fool. And I had 5,000 men. And Luffy's just kind of like, yeah, I don't care. So Don winds up going and grabbing the sack of food. And he says, all right, I'm going to go give this to my men to feed them. And then I'll be back. And anybody who still, wants their lives better leave, better be gone by the time I get back. Because, I'm going to basically give everybody else a burial at sea. So he goes walking out, and there's some talk amongst themselves, and basically a lot of the cooks are just like, you know what, we're gonna stick with you, chef, and we're gonna fight for you, we're gonna fight with you. This is my home. You took us in when no one else would. So you see the camaraderie there. And then you also see, too, and Usopp's like, we better get the hell out of here. And Luffy's like, no, not until I beat Krieg. I got to take him out anyway. He goes, I'm going to eventually have to fight him anyway. So he's kind of like starting to build his legend. And in his mind, he's just like, you know what, I'm going to have to take care of this guy anyway. Better now than later. He's already here, right? I don't have to go get him. So, I might as well just, wipe the floor with him now. Like it's nothing. Sanji goes and kind of gives the whole speech of, listen, I just try to feed people, and that's my deal over here. But pretty soon we're going to have 100 men come and storm us here on full stomachs and everything. So he tells, because Gin's still apologizing, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry this happened, I'm sorry I led him to you, even after you saved me. And Sanji's like, listen, whatever, that's fine, water under the bridge. However, I want you to know that although it is my job as a cook to feed people, it's also my job to defend this place of business, this place that I work at and I love. And don't start complaining when I start wiping the floor with your crewmates, because that's what I'm going to do. So that's kind of, it's about where everything ends up, but we wind up getting a little bit of a flashback, because he says, everybody's kind of wants to get a little information. They said, again, you said that you didn't know, you were scared of the Grand Line, but you didn't really know anything about it. And he says, yeah, I can't really remember. And he kind of does this flashback, and he says, I just remember there was this one terrible person, or this one terrible ship, and one man. And everybody's like, one man, and they show all these ships being taken out, and one man took out an entire armada. And he says, yeah, and if it wasn't for the storm, the flagship probably wouldn't have even gotten away. I mean, all 50 of them would have been sunk, right, with Don, Krieg, and everybody else. So whatever's there in the Grand Line that's yet to be revealed is pretty damn bad. And then, as he says something, something catches Zoro's attention, and I remember, it was actually the last page over here that I was reading, that I was like, oh wow, that's cool, because a couple of people had mentioned to me. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It's upside down. A couple of folks there had mentioned in comments about, keep an eye out for this name and everything. And I try not to get into the spoilers, but he winds up saying, he says, that man with the piercing hawk eyes that could kill with a glance. So he's referring to this man that took them all out, and this is apparently going to be our introduction very soon to this Hawkeyes, which from what I've heard is a character that you want to that everybody told me to kind of keep on the lookout for. So definitely looking forward and excited to dive into the next chapter over here. Like I said, this is getting real exciting. And, I just feel like, we're almost at 50 chapters, and I know that's just a drop in the bucket compared to what's to come. But, we're chugging right along and have done that in under a month. So, we'll try to keep up the pace and, and keep cranking them out as long as you are enjoying them. And, like I said, I'm certainly having a great time doing it. So let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Certainly give me a thumbs up, or if you feel that I've deserved it or I've earned it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will be sure to catch you in the next one, Nation.
As always, thank you for watching, brothers and sisters. Be sure to subscribe and take a look at some of my other videos. Thanks. See you next time, Nation.